He is a god of the game.
Mondays are usually meant to be boring and lifeless, but not this one, as we witnessed probably the best day of international football ever. Is Spain versus Croatia the shortest ever best game? Our prediction on why Denmark and Belgium will be the finalist. Based on facts, of course. Messi is out of job after 21 years, and finally, we are going to talk about Copa America.
Absolutely world class.
Decades later, when historians talk about the evolution of international tournaments, knockout games, they will split that into two eras, with episode 13 of SportsCharcha right in the middle of it. Welcome everyone to SportsCharcha, where we had yet another set of bonkers games and exciting narrations to talk about. And to do that, like always, we have Eeshaan with us.
Hi Bala, hi everyone. So excited about this episode. So many juicy contests that got done in the Euros. Let's get to it.
Great. So, these sitcoms, when they end an episode and they start the next one right from where they left off, I think this episode of ours is exactly like that, because we ended the last one right when Spain scored the second goal. And then we had the episode of after, or the era of after episode 13 of SportsCharcha began. What happened there?
Oh man, what a game. I think, Croatia I feel hard done by. They had a great comeback at the end when Spain were almost nigh on to win the game. But this is what international football, this is what I love about international football. Drama at every corner. And this game was just full of it, right? Spain had the game all done and dusted. Last 5 minutes, Croatia scored 2 goals, equalize, take it to extra time. And then Spain, just because of them having the stronger team, got the result, got 2 more goals, and it ended up 5-3, right? 5-3.
Yeah, it ended up 5-3.
But what a game, man. What a bloody game. What do you think? How did you feel about the game?
Oh, it was superb. Like this is what the Spain I liked watching. This is what the Spain we loved watching over those 4-5 years of great dominance. And Spain, to be fair or unfair, whatever you call it, has been blamed for this boring passing game with no incision for a very long time. Like this game, it felt like the Spanish players turned up and is like, you know what, we are changing it tonight. We are changing that image tonight. And this Spain was so much fun to watch. Yes, they had those defensive frailties towards the end where they conceded the 2 extra goals, but it was so good to see Spain play like this. Especially after the first own goal went, it was one of the most comical own goals you will ever see. We spoke about this last episode also. I thought, my God, we have had a moment. We have had our moment of this knockout games. But by 50th minute, I've almost forgot it. And by 90th minute, it is completely off my memory that happened. The game had so many twists and turns. It was amazing to watch. But in the end, Croatia's players got a little tired, and that kind of showed during the extra time. But talking about extra time, the guy who made the difference, the guy who scored the goal, at one level I'm very happy for him. Some of the controversies that Morata got into, some of the abuse that he got was very unfair. So I was actually happy for him at one level.
But I think just to close out this match, I think what a standout game Pedri had.
Yeah.
What a player he's become this Euro. He's played every single minute of this Euros for Spain, and he's just gone from strength to strength. He's by far one of the best midfielders coming out of this Euro.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I think I should change my the prediction that I made for the best young talent. I think Pedri is pretty much there on top for that right now. Before we close this, just a word on Croatia. I think तो पूरा जूस निकाल दिया जो भी बचा था. I think it got squeezed out in this game, and yeah, it's a very sad thing to end in this way. I mean, it's actually a good thing to end this way, because you ended ended your era on an extremely high note. Was a brilliant game, but then this is pretty much it for this era of Croatian players. So we'll expect to see more Croatian talent coming out in the future. Did you see any future talent for Croatia? Anyone that caught your eye?
Meaning, the funny thing about Croatia is that they're so reliant on their legends that the future talent still is Modric for them. But yeah, I think there were couple of good players. Meaning there was Rebic, who's on and off. He had a decent game. He had some couple of chances in the first half that he should have probably put away. There were some clear cut headers that he had. But yeah, it's going to be, as you said, end of an era for Croatia. They have some young talent in the domestic leagues that might come up and hopefully get good deals in the bigger European clubs, because that's the exposure they need. They have Kovacic, who's still young, who will probably, I think, be the future captain for them. But you're going to see a lot of wholesale changes coming into the Croatian team. A lot of great servants of the game for the country, calling it, meaning hanging their boots up for them.
Yeah. So all the best, Spain, and all the best to Croatia as well. When this game ended, I thought like, wow, this is the best game ever. International knockouts have changed, and I had no idea what was going to follow. In fact, the world wasn't ready to see what was going to follow. France 3, Switzerland 3. Switzerland's go through on penalties. Mbappe missed the last penalty. I mean, this game, if you have to discuss this game, you need to discuss this in phases. Like phase 1 being Switzerland's dominance, phase 2 being France showing what they can do, and then phase 3 France losing it. Like, let's start with phase 1.
I think the just to highlight that, I think we messaged each other saying that the Spain versus Croatia was the shortest best game of the tournament ever. It lasted an hour and a half because literally no one could have called this game. Like, especially the way it happened, the way it unfolded, nobody could have called it. Switzerland absolutely dominated the first half. Like, I don't think France had any clear cut chances. They barely had the ball. And Switzerland was just by far one of, I think, put in their best performance of the tournament in the first half. They got the lead, but then class shows, right? France in the second half turned on the style. You could see how Benzema, Griezmann, and Mbappe were, combining with each other. And both the goals, I think Benzema scored one of the most insane goals of the tournament. That through ball by Griezmann and the first touch to get the ball under control and then chip it over the keeper. I think that just oozes class. Second goal happened almost a couple of minutes later. And then you saw France just completely turn on the style with Pogba scoring a worldie. Like a proper top corner curler. Perfect. And you thought that, I think both of us messaged each other and said, oh, this is going to be a bit embarrassing. And then France just did a control alt delete, end tab, close all tabs mentally. There were some very stupid substitutions that came in. Griezmann was taken off. Sissoko, who's not so defensive, was put on. I don't know what Deschamps was thinking. And there were two chances, clear chances Switzerland had at the end of the game, and they converted both of them. It's as simple as that. They had clear. Seferovic had one of the best games of his career. He had, brilliant headers, both his goals, brilliant headers, and they equalized out of nothing. If you see the last goal, if you are leading a game in a knockout in the near the 90th minute, actually post the 90th minute, you are 7 people are in the attacking side for France. How does that make sense? Switzerland forward were through on goal. They just had to, wrestle past Lenglet, I think, and then shoot. Great finish. And 3-3. And both of us, I remember, we were like, what the hell is going on? And when you went into extra time, I feel Switzerland had the momentum. Because they couldn't believe what was happening. They had the momentum. And when we went to penalty shootouts, meaning very good penalties taken. And I remember messaging you, I am so grateful Benzema was taken off, because I thought it was scripted that Benzema would take the last penalty, he would miss, and it would be redemption for Deschamps. But no, it was Mbappe who took it. And let's be fair, Mbappe probably had one of the worst tournaments by a superstar in a long time. And it just emphasized that with his penalties, complete lack of confidence, great save by Sommer, who had a wonderful game. And that was it. End of the tournament for the world champions. An upset worth talking about for decades. But I think both of us also getting to the part where there was a lot of drama that happened after the game as well. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, everything what you just said, but I just want to put some word on Switzerland also. As you said, they were brilliant. And one major thing, I mean, that one major thing that attracted me, that made me like what Switzerland did was, once when the third goal was scored, the coach made two attacking substitutions. He just threw caution to the wind and they just went for it, and that worked for them. Also, at some level, I thought France were a little too arrogant, especially like. Okay, a lot of things were said about how Pogba celebrated after his third goal. It's okay. It's a great goal. You celebrate as many times as you want to celebrate. But again, you give away the ball for the third goal like you did. You are taking away all the good work you just did. I mean, that's the quality of international level football. You should be at it all the time, because the opposition players, you never know what's going to motivate them to put that extra effort. So I think France learned a very, very important lesson as a team, as a group, as a unit. A lot of things were boiling up, and everything broke out. Yes, everything broke out inside the dressing room and also outside in the stands. Apparently, Rabiot's mother told Mbappe's father to tell his son to be, a bit more, not more arrogant, not be an ass and all that shit. So yeah, something broke out in the stands.
Yeah, this was such an unnecessary controversy because, the country is reeling from a shock, and then the last thing they need is to know about turmoil within the squad. And that's also between your young players, Rabiot and Mbappe, right? And it's sad. I feel it was so unnecessary, but as Frank Leboeuf and Julien Laurent said, it's so French as well.
Yeah.
Like post the match, you just start fighting with the person next to you, and literally Mbappe's father was sitting right next to Rabiot's mother during the game, and I think it's a big slap in the face for the French team. I think they need it in a way because it'll only make them stronger now, because the squad, man for man, they're the best team in the world. There's literally no competition. They just need to put the pieces together and it'll probably work out. But yeah, man, what a game. I think we have other matches to cover. We can talk about this for a really long time, but what a game.
Yeah, I just want to close out with only one congratulations to Granit Xhaka. I knew that he can perform like this. He has performed like this, but yeah, it's a rarity. But he was able to turn his screw on and probably produced the performance of his life in this game. Great. Moving on to the third.
Also, sorry, Bala, just to add, it's sad that Xhaka will be suspended for the next game.
Oh, okay.
He won't
I
be
didn't see
playing the
that.
next
Oh,
game.
that's a shame. That's a shame. Anyways, now we talked about a lot of great narrations, a lot of great games, but the greatest of the greatest narration happened the day after, which is England versus Germany. Well, the game as such wasn't an exciting game like the previous two games, but this was a very well fought out game, and England played the game really well and came out on top. They won 2-0. It's history because this is the first time England have defeated Germany in a knockout game ever since 1966 when they won the World Cup. So after 55 years of pain, that too to happen in Wembley. So this game had more emotions rather than there's nothing much quote unquote football to talk about in this game, more the history and the emotions. But yeah,
I think that is great to watch. Like when you saw the celebrations when England scored, it was just you had goosebumps, even though I was not an English supporter. But if you look at the match, by and large, England was the superior squad. They played better. Yes, both our frustrations still lie that why don't they just break loose and attack and use the team strength that they have, and just break defenses with the ability they have. They didn't, but they were solid. Like in defense, Maguire and Stones have been really good for them. Raheem Sterling, I think one of the most important players for England, at least in the last 5-6 years, right? The clutch goals that he scores for them, amazing. And but I think the big talking point for Germany was the Muller miss. He was through on goal, 1-0 down. He could have equalized. We don't know how the match would have unfolded after that. But fair result, totally deserved by England. Yet another end of an era for Germany. Joachim Low leaves the coaching position for the after 15 years at the helm. So a lot of wholesale changes for Germany as well. But yeah, congratulations, England.
Yeah, just a shout out to 3-4 players who clearly came out on top. One is Declan Rice. He got a yellow card somewhere around the 10th minute, but he played with that yellow card throughout the game and it was immense. And Calvin Phillips, both of them. Remember, they were up against Toni Kroos, Leon Goretzka. They were really, really brilliant. Kane scored a very, very important goal. He really needed this. He was absent. He was absolutely absent throughout the game. But when it mattered, when his team needed him, he appeared and scored the goal. And that's all international football is all about. Winning the moments. And England did that. And the point is, England is a team that weren't able to win moments over the last 45 years in international football, and they did that this time, and this has given them a massive shot in the arm. Like, many part of the English media are already considering them as favorites, and I can't blame them. I can't tell them, oh, you're being over optimistic. There is an objective way of looking at it and say, like, yes, England could be favorites. And this English team to add one more point, under Southgate, they have got two massive monkeys off their backs. One is winning a knockout game on penalties, which they did in the World Cup, and beating Germany, beating a massive team in a knockout in a knockout stage in an international tournament. So, congrats to England. They have a game against Ukraine, who defeated Sweden in the last round of 16 game. I mean, I feel sorry for this game. I really do. I really feel sorry for Sweden and Ukraine because they are like the Mahabharata equivalent of Nakul and Sahadev. Like, no one cares about them.
I actually saw the entire game, and I think one of the best players of the game who ended up on the losing team was Emil Forsberg. What a goal. If you see the chances he had, there was one curler which came off the post, which would have been one of the contenders of the goal of the tournament. Very bad luck for Switzerland, especially to go out in the last minute of extra time. Yeah. It was sad because I think that everyone was set up mentally to go into penalties. And I think the Swedish defense just shut down for a second. And, Ukraine took advantage of that lapse in concentration and scored a clutch goal in the 120th minute. So, amazing, great result for Ukraine. Great result for Andrei Shevchenko. For people who are from the old era of football, know Andrei Shevchenko very well. Not from Chelsea, but from AC Milan. So great result for the country as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game actually, England versus Ukraine. Obviously, England being favourites.
Yeah, Andrei Shevchenko, to talk about him, he is the only Ballon d'Or from that country. He's pretty much one of the most famous Ukrainians ever, in a good way. But yeah, again, congratulations to Ukraine. They will be playing England.
I think he's the only Ballon d'Or left in the tournament.
Is he the only Ballon d'Or left in the tournament? That's a very interesting point because there hasn't been another Ballon d'Or for the last 10, 11 years. But even as a coach, I'm thinking, was there a coach who won the Ballon d'Or who is still there? No, I don't think so. Yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, that's a very interesting observation. True. Was there any Ballon d'Or winning coach other than him? I don't think so, right? That also wasn't there.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Great. All right. Now, round of 16 is done. Let's move on to the big ones or the bigger ones, the quarterfinals. Let's quickly go through all the quarterfinals. We are recording this on Friday morning 11:30. So tonight, Indian time 9:30, the first game is Switzerland versus Spain. Eeshaan.
Spain, with the way they're playing, I think Spain are the favourites. But Switzerland have shown heart. They play really beautiful football. If they can control the midfield of Spain, which is Busquets and Pedri, and keep them contained for a while, you will see Spain getting a little frustrated. But I think also what's going to be very important is the side Luis Enrique puts on the field. I think the squad that he put on again in the last game was very important. I think worked really well for them. So if he puts on the same squad, I think Spain would be favorites.
Yeah, even I think Spain are favorites, but there is only one area where I'm still concerned about Spain, even though they have scored 10 goals in the last two games, is if Switzerland get organized pretty well, like if they can organize themselves in defense pretty well, I still don't see Spain able to break them up. So I know there was a lot of egg on my face after I predicted Croatia versus Spain to be a boring 0-0. But I think this game is not going to be another Croatia versus Spain. This will be more of a KG game because again the stakes are higher now, so you will see more and more KG games as we move along. Now talking about KG,
And also, don't underestimate the fatigue that both these teams went through playing almost 120 minutes, right? So emotional drain. It was a lot of emotional drain and physical drain. So you might see that, on the pitch as well. So yeah, they might be a little more, defensive in their mind just to keep it safe, capitalize on chances. So as you said, KG game.
Yeah, talking about KG games, the KGest of the KG game is happening after this, which is tonight, 12:30 a.m. That is Belgium versus Italy. Belgium favorites or it's right in the middle, 50-50? I think it's 50-50.
It's funny, after the game that have happened, this is the game I'm least looking forward to. And on paper it's the best game. Like it's two heavyweights, but because of what has unfolded in the last couple of games, the two most dull games were these, where the ones which Belgium won and the ones with Italy won.
True.
Belgium have been dealt with a huge setback by the name of Kevin De Bruyne, who is guaranteed not playing this game, as well as their captain on paper, Eden Hazard, who is also going to be missing this game. It's going to be a big miss, especially De Bruyne, because, that is your engine. That is your creative outlet. And as we discussed in the episode before this, where we were talking about Belgium, their weakness is their defense. They've got an aging defense, and Italy have a bustling young forward line. So that will be the test. I don't see it as a KG game. It will be an interesting game. It won't be boring. But I feel I have my money on Belgium coming out of this unscathed and going through to the semi-finals. What do you think?
It's going to be Lukaku versus Italian defense. Can he use his Serie A experience to work around the Italian players? It will be interesting. And as you said, De Bruyne out, Hazard out. So the entire Belgium team is looking up to Lukaku. He is the star. If Belgium has to win, he needs to have a 9 out of 10 game. Not 8, not 7. He needs to have a 9 or 10 out of 10 game. Only then Belgium has a chance.
The interesting part is that most of Belgium's forward lines play in the Serie A. You have Dres Mertens, Lukaku, and you have one more of the forwards also plays in the. But yeah, these two. Let's forget the other. I'm missing that name. But these two are one of the leading strikers in the Serie A. So it's going to be interesting to watch them play against Chiellini and Bonucci.
Great. Now the next game, the third quarterfinals, that's Saturday night 9:30. That is Czech Republic versus Denmark. The two teams that won a lot of hearts throughout this tournament, being an underdog. This will be a great game. I really don't want to predict. I just want to watch this game and have a lot of fun. I'm totally looking forward to this game.
I think this is going to be like the, Friday night chill session type of game where, you just can just put your feet up, have a beer, no emotional stress, and just enjoy some good football. So yeah, I agree with you completely. It's going to be a great game to watch just because of the lack of stress involved in watching it. Like you're gunning for both teams, you like both teams, whatever the result, it's going to be great.
Wonderful. Now, going to the last quarterfinals, which is Ukraine versus England. See, because England has done so well against Germany, because England are the favorites, I think that is why they are going to screw up.
Oh man. But it's trust England, right? You beat Germany, you do everything right, and then you lose to Ukraine. That is actually such an England story. But something tells me this time it's going to be different. Something tells me that I think England have got it right in terms of both their squad and their destiny to at least make it to the finals. So I'm fully on board with England going through in this game.
Yeah. Even I agree. I was just joking. I mean, it will be really funny if it happens, but yeah, England are clear favorites, and especially the way they have played. 4 clean sheets. They are still the only team to haven't conceded in this tournament yet. So definitely,
Yeah.
England are favorites. You know, one interesting stat or trend I saw on Twitter. So 1988 Euro Finals was played between Netherlands and Soviet Union. Both were there in the same group. 8 years later, 1996, Czech Republic and Germany played in the finals. Both were also in the group stages. 2004, Portugal, Greece also in the group stages. 2012, Italy, Spain also in the group stages. So if that trend continues, the only possible option will be Denmark versus Belgium finals. So let's see if that happens.
Won't that be something?
Yeah, it will be an amazing coincidence. Great. No, that's Euros. All the best to the listeners, to whosoever teams that you follow, and good. We'll expect some great games. Now, moving on to Copa America, as promised, we said that we will get back to Copa America when it reaches the quarterfinal stage. Now it has reached the quarterfinal stage. The first game is tomorrow early morning 2:30. I mean, it's happening in Brazil, guys, so all the games will be at ungodly hours. So 2:30 a.m., that is Peru versus Paraguay. Second game is at 5:30 a.m., Brazil versus Chile. Third game, it's on Sunday early morning 3:30, Uruguay versus Colombia. And the last game, Sunday morning 6:30, Argentina versus Ecuador. Quickly, Eeshaan, Brazil versus Chile. Brazil again still massive favorites. I don't see anything.
Brazil are favorites, but Chile, if you see the last 6-7 years, they've been the dark horses in the Copa America. They won it twice. So it's not going to be as easy as we think it is. But yeah, Brazil have just proven to be really strong in this tournament, and I see them going, probably potentially winning it. So I would put my money on Brazil moving forward.
A word on Chile, because yes, they have history on their side, especially against Brazil. But the current Chile team, the way they performed, they were very bad. In fact, Brazil got Chile, Peru, and Paraguay on their side of the draw. And those 3 sides are pretty much the 3 worst teams amongst this 8. So Brazil have also kind of handed over a very favorable draw. But on the other side, you have Uruguay, Colombia. Uruguay have had a mixed tournament so far. They lost to Argentina, but they defeated Paraguay and Peru to finish second. Now, Luis Suarez hasn't been firing, but Suarez can fire anytime he wants. Cavani scored a goal. I don't know. Colombia without James, who do you think will come out on top?
I still put my money on Colombia. They've been playing really badly, but the thing is that they still have a very strong squad. They've got a great forward line. They've got a solid midfield as well. I still feel that it's within Colombia's, squad and their team to go ahead and move ahead with this round. But you never know. Like anything can happen. Colombia have been playing really badly off late, by the way, for those who have not been watching. So meaning if you base it on form, Colombia might be knocked out. But if you just base it on team strength, Colombia will go through.
Yeah, Colombia has got some great players, and people who still remember Colombia from the 2014 World Cup, they now have really exciting strikers. The 2 strikers who play for Atalanta, Zapata and Luis Muriel, so both are really good. Anyway, so Uruguay, Colombia is done. Now coming to the second favorites, Argentina versus Ecuador. Argentina again favorites to win this game, but you know what? I have a better feeling of Argentina. Like if you have to ask me how I felt about Argentina before the beginning of this tournament to where it is right now, I actually favor Argentina more than what I did previously.
I think the result depends on Messi the free agent or Messi the Barcelona player. So I think that will obviously play into Messi's mind as to what's going to happen. But if it's all sorted out before the game, I don't see Argentina struggling in this game. As you said, they played much better with the international matches happening after the break, after the season ended. They played some good football. They've actually started gelling, and obviously Messi has turned on the style. But historically, like England, Messi has been known to be gone missing when it matters. But I still feel that they'll go through with this round at least.
Yeah, you see, I'm thinking Argentina has a good chance, at least a fair chance. Brazil are still favorites. But why I give Argentina more chances, not just because of Messi, but because of 2-3 other players. One is their defender, Christian Romero. He has been immense for Argentina. He was brilliant for Atalanta. In fact, he was voted the best defender in Italy this season, last season in Serie A. So he has been immense for Argentina. Argentina, I think, conceded only 1 or 2 goals in this tournament so far. So they have been pretty tight in defense, and they have their goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, who had an amazing season with Aston Villa. And more importantly, Messi now has someone who can understand him in Papu Gomez, and that combination is starting to work. The only missing piece to me is Lautaro. Lautaro still hasn't kicked in. Like, he's still not the Lautaro we saw in Serie A. But if he turns that on, then Argentina has a real force. Cool. So that's about it for Copa America. This week on Speed Point, we have a lot of breaking news. Now, see, this is how international PR works. When Euros games are not happening, that's when all the clubs' PR engines start, and then they start chucking in news after news after news because they want to garner maximum attention as much as possible. So to start with this, we'll start with the managerial changes. Nuno Espirito Santos is now the new Tottenham boss. Eeshaan, I think that Fenerbahce news was, I don't know, I think it must have come out of some random source.
Yeah, I think I read it on Twitter that he was close, and he was nowhere close to being even considered for Tottenham. But the deal's finally done, and I'm just happy and relieved that Tottenham finally have a manager.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right choice, but at least they have a manager and they can start working towards the preseason.
For the listeners and to everyone, I just want to tell one thing. When I saw the news of Nuno leaving Wolves, I messaged Eeshaan and told him, will he be the next Tottenham boss? And Eeshaan said, yeah, he could be. This was 21st May, guys. We predicted this more than a month before. So, Daniel Levy.
If there was ever any reason for you guys to follow us, this is it.
Yeah. Now, talking about controversial managerial changes, Rafael Benitez to Everton. There has been split views from Everton fans about this, but I think it's not a great appointment. It's again 1 step forward, 2 step backward for Everton.
I agree, because you feel that like Mourinho, Benitez is past his expiry date in managing teams, but the reason why I'm a little optimistic is that Benitez is one of the best managers if you have a project in mind, and I feel Everton have a long-term project, being consistently playing in Europe, not achieving the unthinkable, not doing a Leicester, but just keeping it simple and being in Europe year on year. And in that, if you have that kind of a long-term project, Benitez thrives. Because he'll work with the youth teams. He'll work with the stars. He won't ask for too much money being spent. And I think that in that way, I feel he will work for Everton. But the proof is in the pudding, right? We've seen when Benitez started at Liverpool, he didn't start really well. And in today's day and age, patience is something nobody has. So if Everton decide to give him time, I think in the long term, this could work really well for them.
Great. Now, talking about player transfers, we need to start with the one and only player. Eeshaan, what's the common thing between me and Messi?
No, I don't know.
We both are jobless.
Oh.
In history, first
cut is the deepest.
In history, 1st July 2021 will be etched upon as Messi being jobless for the first time in 21 years. He is not a Barcelona player. No one can say Messi is a Barcelona player right now. But yeah, who knows? By the time you're listening to this podcast, you would have already signed a new contract with Barcelona. Because whatever we have seen and heard and read, it seems like a new contract is imminent. Only the the final details needs to be managed. But yeah, enough.
I think what I was reading was the only thing that needs to be figured out is the tax part of it, and that has always been a bit of Messi's problem because of just the amount of salary he takes in. So I think that's the one thing that's left for Laporta to figure out. And I think I don't see Messi going anywhere, and he's going to be renewing with Barcelona.
Yeah. Now talking about confirmed transfers, finally, the saga is over. Sancho to United is done, unconfirmed. Everyone confirmed. I think United also confirmed right now. But yeah, this is a proper win-win. What do you think?
Yeah, but then you have Ole at the helm, and he might treat Sancho as Van de Beek, as an unused sub for most of the games, like how Southgate has been treating him. You never know. But I think it's a great signing finally for United. It'll be interesting to see where he fits in though, in the squad. They've got great wingers. They've got, Bruno Fernandes in the center. You'll probably need McTominay to just be that defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see where Ole fits him in. And obviously you still have Van de Beek. In terms of squad strength, definitely a big win for United. But yeah, I'm still a little confused as to where he will fit into the first starting 11.
To me, he'll start on the right, but again, we don't know what Ole is thinking. But talking about transfers to United, Rafael Varane to United is heating up, so that's going on. And when it comes to making big businesses, PSG has been doing some wonderful business this summer. They are almost close to signing Hakimi. I think medical is the only thing that's left.
Yeah, it's almost done. It's done.
Yeah. And
It's almost done, yeah.
yeah, and since yesterday, one other news has been heating up that Ramos has agreed a deal with PSG, a 2-year deal with PSG, and again, subject to medical and other things, that should also be confirmed soon.
Meaning these are big names, right? These are big names coming into your squad. I am flabbergasted as to how PSG afford this. What's happened to financial fair play? Because Ramos is coming on a free, but he's not. His salary is not going to be cheap. So I don't know how they fit in. They will probably have to let people go. I think they might be regretting renewing Draxler at the beginning of this season. I don't know what the hell is Draxler going to do. But yeah, meaning, does this mean Mbappe goes to just clear up some salary space? I don't know.
No, so actually on the question of financial fair play, UEFA and FIFA have relaxed those financial fair play regulations for this season. So PSG is taking full advantage of it. I was surprised to see how Manchester City hasn't taken full advantage. Maybe that's why they're going for both Grealish and Kane. Who knows what if they end up with both of them? So yeah, on the FFP thing, yeah, it's been relaxed for this season.
No wonder.
And on minor updates, Patson Daka has signed for Leicester, so nothing much to talk about there. He's from RB Salzburg. Now, enough of football. Let's talk about Wimbledon. So we have 2 rounds done?
Yeah, a lot of upsets, major upsets already. Sita ke paas or Sit se paas for people who know how to pronounce his name. If you guys don't know, he was a finalist in Roland Garros a couple of weeks ago. Got knocked out in the first round. Shocker. Serena Williams, who was on course to beat Margaret Court as the absolute number of Grand Slam champion. She had to retire hurt in the first set when the game was at 3-3. Federer sucked balls in the first game, took it to 5 sets, and the player he was facing retired, so he got lucky. But yesterday in the second round, you saw his class, and he was just dominant. Djokovic is just being Djokovic, consistent. And yeah, I mean, it's proving to be quite an interesting. There was one starlet coming out, Tifoe, from the USA. He played, I think, one of the great games in Wimbledon, and I think that's what's amazing about Wimbledon. Every year we see one surprise, and I think the last American surprise was back in '96 or '95, Malawi Washington versus Richard Krajicek as a Wimbledon final.
96.
Yes, 96.
96.
And I think we've never seen an American coming back and creating surprises in Wimbledon. So all the best to him. I hope to see him in the semis or the finals.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. So Wimbledon is also going really well. In fact, if I remember right, I think post Malawi Washington, did Andre Agassi play a final? Okay, fuck it. I don't remember. Let's don't go there.
Roddick did.
Oh, Roddick did. Yes, Roddick did. Yes. All right, guys. that's enough for today. We have had a lot to talk about, and next time when we come back, we'll have the semi-finalists ready for both Copa America and for Euros, and we'll talk about all those quarterfinals game, and we'll preview the semi-finals. So until then, it's bye from Bala.
Bye, guys. All the best for your games. Take care. See you next week.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like we are literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you are listening to. It not only helps us, but also new listeners to easily find our podcast. You can also reach out to us on Twitter @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye.